I now invite Mr. Murphy, your leader of learning for almost your entire time at Emmaus, to come forward to address us this morning.
For those of you who know me, you know that I like to tell stories. When I catch up with my friends and they ask me how work is, I usually just tell them stories about my students. I tell them inspiring stories, tales of adversity, and funny things that have happened at school. In my past, some of the stories I've told have been about the Rahimi sisters, two of the most intelligent students I've ever taught, whose parents, despite being both highly qualified doctors in Iran, had not had their qualifications recognised by the Australian government, and were both forced to work as cleaners. Or Jasmine, who had emancipated herself from her parents due to their drug addiction, and was working 2 jobs whilst living by herself and completing her schooling in order to reach her goal of making it to uni. Or my favourite, Rayanne, who excitedly came into roll call one day and told me that her and her friend Shirley had decided that when they leave school they were going to save their money and go and visit Bridgestone like I had the year before. After some confusion on my part, I had to tell her that it was actually Stonehenge that I'd been to the year before, and Bridgestone was a tyre brand. So after 6 years at Emmaus Catholic College, what will I tell them about the Year 12 of 2020? I know that I have collected a whole new repertoire to entertain my friends. I will tell them about Mark Ira, who brought his own toilet paper to school because he wasn't happy with the quality that the college provided him. I will tell them about Nico's wraps and how good they were, Nico. I'll tell them about the time I had to explain to Georgia what part of the cow rump steak comes from. I will talk about Jacinta Cook's resilience in the face of several health setbacks. I will tell them about the time Isabel handed me a note asking to leave early and telling me that the reason on the note was a lie, even before I'd read it. I will talk about Michaela's passion for social justice, Alex's determination to ask a question at every year meeting, and I will tell them about the only person on earth who actually scares me, Michaela. I will talk about Lauren's passion for everything Kardashian, or that time that Jack came to the Year 12 formal dressed as Bill Butcher from Gangs of New York. I'm holding you to that, Jack. I will tell them about how I miss Caitlin calling me the Murphinator. I'll tell them about the time I had to duck a discus from Lucas because I underestimated how far he could actually throw it. I will talk about Hannah, the only person I know who injures themselves more than I do. I'll tell them about the time I visited Miss Buluk's Year 12 biology class and watched Miss try to set up Grace and Ahmed. And to her disappointment, it didn't happen. Nibol's refusal to show me her major artwork, and Alessandro's interesting choice of a part-time job. Wisdom's yoga-inspired photo-taking poses on the Year 9 photography excursion, and Miss Stevenson and I still talk about what we dubbed Foga. Lara, who never frowned in her life, Cooper Lee's attempts at yoga, Jess walking the length of the science block on her hands. And I will tell them about Cooper Smith's email, where after coming home from a particularly tiring term, I checked my email one last time before I shut my work brain off. And I was touched to find a note from Cooper thanking me for the work that I do. Cooper, that message meant a lot to me then, and even more now. I will tell people about a year group who I first met in Year 7 in 2015 when I was appointed their year advisor, and the stress and sleepless nights that they provided me in those first 2 years. In those years, I knew that every teacher who came to speak to me in the staff room to ask how I was going was really there to tell me about the latest adventure that someone from this year group had been on. However, by the time they made the transition to Year 9, those conversations became less and less, and the staff room discussions became teachers coming in to tell me how much the group had improved, and more lately, how much they'll miss them when they go. I will tell people that no year group has had a tougher HSC, and whilst the same can be said about all Year 12 students around the state, speaking to my other friends who are teachers, I don't think any group has handled it quite as well as the ECC group. At the start of Year 12, I told you that doing hard things makes the next hard thing a little bit easier. At the time, I only had in mind the stresses of the HSC. Little did I know that 2020 had so much more in store for you. From bushfires and floods, to followed by a global pandemic, the likes of which the world has not seen in 100 years. You have had to deal with smoke-infested classrooms, flooded roads, learning from home, retreat picnic days, carnivals, inner-house cup events, formal cancellations, postponements, modifications, yet you have taken it in your stride. Your generation is often criticised for lacking resilience, but those comments do not apply to you. You have shown a resilience which I don't think I had when I was 18. With every setback, you have kept showing up with a smile. You have chosen to look for the positive in the situation. In the numerous year meetings when I've had to deliver some cancellation, change or update, my fear that it would be this one that broke the straw that broke the camel's back, that the news would finally produce the reaction of why us, and bracing for the understandable reaction of disappointment or an expression of frustration. However, I quickly realised that my news would be met with a simple shrug of the shoulders and a "don't worry sir, it's not your fault, you can't do anything about it." And it is this attitude that I am most proud of you for. Resilience, I believe, is the most important quality to possess. Life will throw you curveballs, but it's your ability to deal with those that will determine your success in life. And for this year group, I have no worries in that regard. Like all good stories, there must be an ending. But I urge you to see this as the end of a chapter, not the whole story. My father used to tell me that school was the greatest time of your life. My father is rarely wrong, but in this instance, he is. School, whilst being an important part of your life, is just a part. For those of you who are fearing the world outside of Emmaus, fear not. You have coped with change before. The people you are sitting with now, at one time, were strangers to you. You have new friends to make, and uni, TAFE and the workplace will open your eyes to new and exciting experiences and opportunities that Emmaus could never provide you. For those of you who have longed for this day to come and couldn't wait for school to end, well done, you made it. And you don't have to do this again. But I know that the strength you have gained by seeing it to the end will hold you in good stead for the next step in your journey. Whilst we live in uncertain times, I still believe that we are sending you into a world full of opportunity and excitement. For some of you, that excitement has come sooner with the news of early acceptance offers from universities. Whilst I am thrilled for your news, my advice is to avoid the temptation of not taking your exam seriously. Approach the HSC like you don't have the offer. That is the pathway to success, not avoiding the hard work. For those of you who are still unsure of what 2021 holds, stay strong. If there is one positive from COVID, it is that it has created new and exciting opportunities for all, and there is a place for you in further education or the workplace somewhere. Your time will come. So as our time comes to an end, know that you will all live long in the memories of your teachers, and know that you've had a profound impact on them, on not only them, but the college. I would like to leave you with one quote. F. Scott Fitzgerald, in his book of essays, The Crack Up, wrote, "The world only exists in your eyes. You can make it as big or as small as you want." Goodbye, Year 12, and good luck.